And we are live on the SideQuest, your beautiful weekly journey into the wonderful land of video games, video game culture, all that stuff that I say every week. You can find us at SideQuesting.com. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're on iTunes, we're Pandora. We got the Pandora. What is it? The bracelets. I think we do the Pandora bracelets. Spotify. All that. You can find us. Just do a search for The SideQuest. That's where you'll find us. I'm Dolly Dimovsky. Joining me as usual. Let's go kitty corner this time. I'm going to point on that way to Aaron Scratty Bones Kelly.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
He's back. Yeah, I like that deep voice. Yeah, there we go. Good old Aaron Fireball Scratty Bones Kelly.
I need something to deal with this hangover.
Hair of the dog.
Yep. That lovely voice you just heard right above Aaron is the one, the only JJ Holder.
It is JJ Holder once again, unfortunately.
Yes. And a corner from him and below me, it is you. It's Zachary, not the Fireball Quest. Yeah, there you go. Something like it. Yeah. Monsieur Quest. Hello, my friends. It is 2021. We have made it. We did it.
Sure.
Yeah. Everything's different, guys. We're calling in from the future. Everything's different. Hey, we're going to talk about video games. First of all, I did want to say it is great to see you guys. It's been 2 full holidays since I've spoken to you all. Christmas. I think we recorded Christmas Eve, and then now we're recording the day of New Year's Day. So yesterday was New Year's Eve. Whatever. Who knows? Welcome. How are you guys? It's good to see you guys.
Oh, it's great. I'm feeling good.
That's good. You guys are all healthy.
Oh, well, yeah.
Sure. Mentally is a whole different thing. Yeah. Obviously. We're alive right now, and that's what matters. Just make it through this show. We all got our stimulus checks. We're sorry, Aaron, you didn't get one.
My guy's not signed to a pandemic. I don't need a stimulus check. I work every day.
He's got health. He's got healthcare stuff taken care of there.
Does.
I didn't even get we went into lockdown. I kept working. I haven't even had time off because of this whole thing.
That's crazy.
Same.
Yep. Both of you guys. Yep. I've worked, but I've worked from home. So, and then there's Zach.
Hey, I work from home too.
Yes, we know. We're just messing. You and I on this side of the screen. Wait, I don't. Whatever. Forget it. I'm not even about it trying.
Yes, Aaron and I are essential workers.
Yep.
We have to be out there.
We are, and Zach, you and I are asexual workers.
Asexual
Not asexual. Damn it. Totally owned myself. Anyways, I'm gonna start off with a drinky drink. Today is going to be a fun episode as we discuss our favorite games of 2020, mostly because there is zero news right now, which I appreciate. Sorry, Aaron.
I lied. There's exactly one piece of news.
You know, let's go into the news first because let Aaron finally get back into it.
That one piece of news, and for anybody who watches the show,
Dr. Jones,
you know what well I'm digging into. Yeah. Hey, Star Citizen, they single player game. They missed their announcement date, and they have no new date to announce.
Awesome,
mysterious.
Money well spent, everyone.
They are at this point. They're just living off the interest that everybody plugged into that game as a donor, right? As a supporter and crap. It's just they have that money sitting in the bank, and it's accruing percentages every year, and they're just yeah, let's keep this going. If we pull 1 or 2 more years out of this, then we'll have paid off everything, and then we can just give everybody the rest of their money back.
Star Citizen has crossed the $250 million mark as of 2018. So I don't know, double that for 2 more years, and
yeah, true.
If not more,
they'll get the $500 million before that game releases, and then it'll be Cyberpunk 2077.
Apparently, as of March, they're over $500 million. As of March, they're $550 million.
And there you go. You see, Dr. Jones. Sorry, I have to cover up Zach's face. Roof that studio is going to go up, and Chris is going to ascend into the sky in a giant ship and go live on Mars with. He's going to live on Mars with Elon Musk, apparently.
Yeah.
I think someone who's somebody that works on Star Citizen. A couple folks follow me on Twitter, so every time I feel bad every time I rip into it as just a horrible.
Well, they must hate the fact that they are my go-to material for slow news days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. So let's talk about 2020 because who knows what 2021 is going to hold. Maybe we'll get Star Citizen this year. You know what? This is official. We are announcing today on the show Star Citizen is coming 2021, and we're holding them to it, whether they want us to or not. Oh man,
roll the montage.
It was a year. It was definitely a year. Everything got delayed, and some things should have gotten delayed. As we know. Oh my lord! And then things did get delayed, and then they got undelayed, and then they should have been re-delayed as Cyberpunk. But
hey, I don't know what you're talking about. In a totally unrelated news, I just opened Steam and I have 107.8 hours in Cyberpunk.
No, that's true. You are dev level of time played in that game.
Yeah, I've essentially 100% of that game twice.
Excellent. I'm plowing through it as well, and I don't dislike. I think I mentioned before. I don't dislike the game at all. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm having some stupid bugs as usual, but I'm also playing it on a PS5, the PS4 version on a PS5. So I'm not having a horrible time, but I know JJ, you popped that shit into your PS4, didn't you, for a laugh?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did.
How bad
that was bad. It was running. It was running at such a bad, like, everything. Like it felt like you were walking through mud. It was just so slow and sloggy. It was like 20 frames per second. It was, and so much blur on everything to sort of hide the fact that everything looks like shit. And it was just pop-in city, man. It was just nonstop artifacts popping into place and stuff. It was like you would think it was like an alpha or something.
Can I make a? This isn't specifically about Cyberpunk. It's just I'm just thinking of it because I'm looking at it on my Steam list right now.
Yeah.
You know when you go look at the achievements on a Steam game and it shows you all the ones you have unlocked, all the ones you don't have unlocked, and then it says, "Oh, +7 secret achievements," and we're gonna tell you how to do them until you do them.
Yeah.
I fucking hate those.
Same.
Luckily, how am I supposed to go out there and do them if I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing?
It'd be one thing if it's like they're hidden just because they're story stuff. Like, you know, they say, "Oh, you beat like, you know, this boss or whatever," and it's like, you know, that's a spoiler or something. But it's another thing altogether when it's just secret for the sake of being secret.
Do y'all remember when trophy names had spoilers on them?
Yeah.
Like straight up, like, you killed blah blah blah, and then you saw this and did that. It's like, oh, cool. Thanks.
No, my favorite thing was the Uncharted 3 Twitter integration that you plug. Remember that? Because as soon as you would, as soon as you'd beat a level on Uncharted, I did anything in Uncharted 3, it would show up through Twitter, and I remember like Crescente and Schreier and a bunch of the Kotaku and IGN folks as they're going through their review, like every 15 minutes. You'd see chapter completed. So and so shot this guy. So and so chapter. So and so found this thing. I'm like, wow. Do not follow these guys right now.
Yeah, that was back when they didn't really know what Twitter integration meant for a video game. It's like everyone was trying to shove it in somewhere, and it's just like I think we've sort of perfected what it is with it'll be the share button.
Completely
Remember,
agree.
you used to be able to tweet directly from the Xbox 360.
Oh yeah.
In one of the most brutal interfaces imaginable.
Oh my god, I like tweeting from the Switch. At least it's a touchscreen, and you can put an innocuous image in there, like take a screen cap from 1-2 Switch and say, Cyberpunk's running great on Switch or something. I don't know, whatever.
I didn't mind the 360. I had a chat pad for my controller. So.
Oh wow, make it rain, bro! Holy cow!
I just bang out the messages. Get killed in COD. And
actually, that was a pretty nice
take
pad.
It to a new level, telling off the guy who killed me.
That chat pad was pretty nice. That was pretty dope, I gotta say. But let's get into our top 5. So every year here at SideQuesting, in lieu of a game of the year, which we did the first 7 or 8 years of existence. We said, let's just switch over to like our favorite games of the year. And that worked awesome until a couple years ago, Aaron just forced us to choose a game of the year. And forced us to forced us to choose Spider-Man, which is a good call, by the way. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We are allowing that. And I don't think we did it last year. I can't remember if we did or not, and maybe we'll do it. I don't know. We'll see how this.
Remember what we did last year?
I don't remember either. We'll
I
see
don't
how
think anyone.
List
I
last year?
I know we didn't really do anything because I definitely typed up a list that is still sitting on my desktop that never got submitted to anywhere or to anyone. So.
I feel like I'm the only one that did one.
You and I, no, Aaron, you did favorite game of the year, and I did
Fire, Shadowbringers, Outer World, Untitled Goose Game, and Death Stranding. Also, hey, so apparently last year in 2019, I had the Outer Worlds on my list. I got to scramble for a new game because for some reason that's on my list this year. I thought that was a 2020 game.
Nice. And I think, what's funny is I'm looking at your games from 2019. I think those are my games for 2020. So that's a lot.
Outer World and Hades. Congratulations, Hades. You made it in at the 11th hour.
Don't worry. I have games from like 2017 on my list, but whatever. I figure if Jeff Keighley can do it, then fuck it, we can do it too. Anyways, we talk about our favorite games because it's so difficult to choose a site's favorite game unless there's something amazingly, overwhelmingly.
Unless it's Spider-Man.
Unless Aaron has his way. Unless there's something absolutely amazing that we're all gaga over, it's difficult. So we always figure let's just kind of go through ours. We'll either do write-ups or videos or whatever, and we go through there. And I typed up a list here, and one game that I started playing today may have snuck onto that list. I'm gonna get into that. Which does it defeat the purpose? Because I started playing it on January 1st. No, I won't. No, it was a 2020 release. But we'll just kind of go through our 5 individually. We'll talk about it, and we'll call it a show after that. So I want to start. With JJ. Only I'm saving you for last, Zach, because you have an audio visual. You have an experience that you're doing with yours. You have a full on.
There's a PowerPoint presentation coming.
There's a PowerPoint test afterwards. So let's start with JJ. What were your favorite games of the year?
I'll start off with Miles Morales.
Okay.
I fucking love that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where it's. Spider-Man, if the original Spider-Man was such a big game when it came out and it doesn't really improve upon Spider-Man too much in a lot of ways, but it does some of the gameplay stuff I would say is much, much better than the original Spider-Man. That's the new power set really adds something to the game. Sure. I don't think the story is better, but it is shorter, which does it some favors. But I loved Spider-Man. I 100%ed that game in probably the shortest order I've ever 100%ed a game.
That's an easy one.
It wasn't hard, so
it's like 6 to 8 hours, something like that.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and that's to 100% it. It's 6 to 8 hours, depending on difficulty, I would think.
Sure.
But it's a game that I truly love. It looks beautiful on the PS5. And I'm glad we got it this year. I wish there was more to it. I wish there was some DLC or something coming, but who knows? But can't wait to see how this weaves into. I
think sequel. I was gonna put that on my list. I ended up holding off. I didn't play enough of it, but because I want to finish the original Spider-Man game, so I figured I'm gonna stop playing Miles Morales until I finish the original one. But I know enough of what happens, and they're both Spider-Man and Miles Morales are both sort of leading into whatever the next actual Spider-Man game sequel is. So I am really curious if they're going to do some sort of mini, even smaller, 2-hour little mini experience, like a lead-in prologue type of thing, or could they went all in by doing a Sinister Six out the gate.
the original Spider-Man.
Yeah. Who
like,
is the bad guy in Miles Morales?
a corporation, basically.
Is it Roxanne?
Yes, it's Roxanne.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's basically your villain in that. I mean, there's a little more to it than that, but like, because like you also have the the terrorist group that is trying to bring down Roxanne, but it's sort of like, it's a morality tale. But
Miles morality tale.
Oh, I love it.
Well, there's the article headline.
But this minor spoilers. It doesn't have anything to do with the main game, but like the post-credit scene builds on the post-credit scene from the original Spider-Man some more, with more of Norman Osborn and looking after Harry. So, and we know how they're really building towards Venom. The next game is going to be a Venom heavy game because they're really laying it on thick with that stuff. So it would be cool if it was something a little bigger than just Venom, because the Venom story is not that big. I mean, and without having Peter be involved with the suit in the first place, it kind of limits sort of the intrigue of Venom, because that was always the fun thing about Venom in the comics was, the Venom suit hated Peter and Eddie Brock hated Peter. So you have these two minds in one, both with the same goal of fuck Peter Parker. So you're not going to have that. It's going to be more like Ultimate Spider-Man, where the suit was created as a cure for cancer in Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that becomes, the wearer becomes, twisted.
Or for all those Philistines who haven't read the best comic series in the world, it's more like the Venom movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the Venom movie, except the Venom movie, it still comes from space, and in Ultimate Universe, it is a science experiment. So there's that. Next on my list, I will say Murder by Numbers.
Ooh, interesting call on that one.
Hey, do you like Phoenix Wright games?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like Picross games?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? This is a Phoenix Wright game with Picross in it.
Now you're, what's funny about that is I don't know if Sam started to play that yet, but it looks like we have to get Sam to play that.
And it's funny. It's actually got like a good sense of humor. It's like, it takes place in like the 90s, and it's got an adult sense of humor to it too. Like,
oh shit, it's on sale on Switch right now.
It's like $10 right now on Switch.
Oh crap! No, I just ordered it. I just bought it.
The first puzzle in the game is like your character is can't find her car keys, and the little robot companion that's broken tries to help her. It's like, oh, have you checked your purse? And then it goes into a Picross puzzle, and you solve it, and it says car key. It's a question mark, but it's clearly a tampon. So the first puzzle in the game that you solve is a tampon, which is super funny. Yeah,
progressive.
Like, yeah, it's funny. It's definitely, it does the whole Phoenix Wright thing where you're like searching, like investigating the room for clues, and like when you find the clue, it brings up a puzzle, and you do the puzzle, and it's in chapters, and yeah, it's great. I fucking love it. I love Picross games, and I love the Phoenix Wright games, and this is like, it's one of, you ever play a game that feels like they just like made something specifically for you and only you? This is what it felt like for me. It's like, oh man, just it's absolutely a perfect game. As of recording, this is on sale on Switch for like $10. And I cannot recommend Murder by Numbers enough. It's great.
Awesome.
It's great.
Awesome. Two of my favorite genres, the 90s and Picross.
Yeah,
I'm getting my daughter into Picross as well, so I'm pretty proud of that.
And I'm a sucker for whodunits as well. So like any sort of like, as a narrative, just a murder mystery really is something great for me. So yeah, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Oh, damn. I still haven't played it.
I sunk so much. Quest is begging you to let him in.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry, but I was looking away from the screen. God almighty. What happened? Did you get kicked out again? Sorry, but hit F5 by accident. All right, continue. Sorry, Tony Hawk.
Oh yeah, no, I've been playing it since it came out and I haven't stopped. And it's exactly the game I remember it being as a teenager, and there's not much more I could say about Tony Hawk's 1 and 2. It's absolutely a perfect game for me. I love
Activision has thrived, outside of Call of Duty and the Blizzard stuff, and what's the other big Call of Duty you have, and Warzone and the Blizzard stuff basically. Yeah. They're living off of reissuing these old games, like all the Crash Bandicoot games, the racing games, Spyro, and now this.
Yeah.
It's just reissues, but they're doing a great job with all of them.
Yeah, because the Crash Bandicoot games, like Crash Bandicoot, not that great, but the remasters were really good. Like they kind of tightened things up better than they were originally, but still don't care. But I mean, it's there.
Did you guys know that they released a Crash Bandicoot 4 this year? Did you guys know about that?
I know, crazy.
Nobody remembers.
But yeah, no, you could tell that they really cared about Tony Hawk, the developers of this one. Like they really wanted to make a good Tony Hawk game, especially how that franchise's name has been drugged through the mud for years and years now. What, a better part of a decade. I mean, once Ride came out, that was it for that franchise. Ride, Downhill Jam wasn't that good. Was an entire game based off of one level in like the first game is not the best idea. But it's everything I hoped it would be, and it feels really good. It's always dangerous when you're like, we're making a new Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and it doesn't feel right. But it feels right. And the soundtrack's great. Like it's the original. It's most of the original with some new stuff tossed in. And
so you turn that game on. The very first thing you do, you're in the warehouse level, right? It's the very first level.
Well, I mean, technically, when you boot that game up, you get to choose. They keep Tony Hawk 1 and 2 separate, so you can choose. Do you want to go to Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 first, or do you want to go to Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 first? Or you can just sort of like do the mashup, or you can do. They also have like custom levels, and they have like a list of levels that people have created, and everything's unlocked. Like there's a section where like the freestyle mode, where you can just choose whichever level you want out the gate. Huh. So, but you can progress through the Tony Hawk games as you would have originally, where like the levels will become unlocked as you complete the tasks and stuff. And you just choose, you just want to jump right into Tony Hawk 2 and just skip Tony Hawk 1 altogether. You could do that. And, you're getting XP and money and stuff to unlock costumes and boards and stuff like that. There's not, and I don't think there's any microtransactions in that game. So you could very easily have sold like, fancy costumes and stuff, but they never did. So that's good.
Younger skaters.
Yeah. It is funny to see like some of the skaters that were in the first game are in this game, and they're current age, and you're just like, some of you have aged more gracefully than others. But yeah, no, I can't get enough. I'm still playing that game. That's awesome. I keep going back to it, and I'll probably keep
created a bunch of courses.
Yeah, and it's really easy to just play a created course. It's just load it up. It's just like you can search. What's most popular right now? What's the most popular of all time? It's easy.
I don't think they need to do much more. Beyond what they did with this game for the next true Tony Hawk game. Like, just kind of build off of this as opposed to trying anything crazy or whatever.
Yeah, I don't need. Yeah, well, I mean, Thug is really good, but I don't think we need an open world Tony Hawk like story driven game. I think if they just made a game called Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, like for the Series X or whatever, and just made all new levels with, you know, Tony Hawk and current skaters or whatever. I think that's just the route to go. And this is a year where it's proven that you could probably just make a budget game like that. Like Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 it's like $40.
Something like that. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
So yeah, and it doesn't feel like a $40 game. So.
I think the question you got to ask though is if this was a game that some team had just made and it wasn't Tony Hawk 1 and 2, would anybody have given a shit? And the game is identical. The game is identical. It's just not Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
I think so, because there are tons of skate games that have sort of gotten a lot of because that Skate XL, like that's actually a relatively popular game that is, people are hungry for like a good skateboarding game. And I think if they just made an homage to the Tony Hawk franchise and made it play exactly like Tony Hawk, it would have, I don't think it would have been a mega game of the year. I think most people would have overlooked it for sure, but I still think it would have been, the people who did eventually play it would have loved it. So, but yeah, people are hungry for skateboarding clearly, because there was also that like Skatebird game that people were really excited for. It's like that's
still coming, right? I don't think it's out yet.
It's still on the wish list on Steam. I'm looking forward to that. Oh well, Allie's gone, so it's just us now.
And we're still live, so I guess you can
still
keep
live,
talking if you like.
Yeah, I guess keep going and going and going.
Sorry about that.
Everyone's dipping out just constantly.
I literally hit the wrong button on my Chrome tab. All right, continue. Sorry about that.
You hit F5 as well.
I hit F5.
Next game on my list will be Panzer Paladin.
Another game that I'm just about to hit the buy button on.
You can read my review on SideQuesting as to why I love Panzer Paladin so much. And I think we isolated the video of it too and posted that when I was gushing about it after I beat it. That game fucking rules. That game rules so hard. I love the weapon mechanic in that game.
Oh god, I want to play so bad.
It is. It is. When we did the games of the decade, and I put Shovel Knight on there as like a top game for me. And this has that same. It is activating that same part of my brain that Shovel Knight activated, where it's just like, it's the right kind of nostalgia, where it's not really trying to be accurate to the time, but it's making you feel like it is. And it feels like a Mega Man game in a lot of ways, with like bosses, and the music is very similar to a Mega Man game. And like the weapons system, it's the weapon system that really does it for me, with like, everything revolves around your weapon destruction. Like you need magic power. You break the weapon that you're currently holding. Like the only weapons you can use are the ones that are dropped, and you can only hold a few at a time. And you know, some have uses to get in other areas. Some have, you know, and if you don't have any weapons, you just down to your fists and try beating a boss that way. I'm not good enough at video games to do that. So,
it's just, the style is so good.
It's so good, and the weapon creator is very good, and it's cool that you can sort of have that stuff randomly drop into your game. So like you can just like randomly get a keyblade.
So cool. Yeah, because people create that and they just throw it up there.
Yeah, and you can choose what like it's
and how many dongs did you end up running into?
Fewer than you would expect. I was disappointed, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, it's great. You can buy the physical version of it now. Like Limited Run has pre-orders up for a.
I'm gonna guess you pre-ordered it.
Of course, I pre-ordered it.
Good man.
I have to give them some money. I got it for free.
You get the review copy. Yep.
Got the review copies. I toss them a couple of bones for a game that I've recommended to everyone who asked me. Yeah. So. I don't know if this is my number one game of the year, but it's pretty close. And you'll notice Hades isn't on my list because
Mario 3 All-Stars beat it up.
No. I love Hades, but it's definitely not my type of game. I recognize it as a phenomenal game, and I'm playing it, but it's not. And I love that team, and they've done a phenomenal job on this. I love the style of it, and I love the sort of characters in the world, but like the gameplay is just okay for me. I'm not super into it that way, but I did choose Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Nice.
I was just absolutely drawn into that game hard. I played it that night, stayed up way too late for work night playing it. And just every free moment was me playing that game. I was completely focused in that game until I beat it. I love it's the kind of remake that I love, where I'm very familiar with Final Fantasy VII, and to sort of make a remake that is
it's so extensive.
It's extensive, but it's also different enough. They're doing enough different things where it's and only Zach will understand what I'm saying about when I say this, but it is a lot like the Evangelion Rebirth movies that they're doing, where it's like it starts off perfectly fine.
What do you mean only Zach will understand?
Okay, well, hey,
right here.
But like, so with the Rebirth movies, the first movie is like, oh yeah, this is the same, and then by the time, then it just starts deviating hard, and you can see that deviation starting to hit. By the time you hit the end of that game, it's like, oh fuck,
frick, yeah.
It's exactly what I want out of a remake. It's like how a lot of the comic book movies do it too, where it's like, yeah, this is Civil War, but it's like it's taking enough from the original source, but then also making it something completely and utterly its own. And I fell in love with the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Awesome.
It's because Final Fantasy VII, the original, is not my favorite by Final Fantasy by a long shot.
Some would argue it's not even a good Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, it's
true.
Final Fantasy VII was one that I went back to because, I played the 2 Super Nintendo games. I didn't play 7. I didn't play 8. I played 9 and then started going backwards.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I played 9 and then I played 7 and then I played 8. And 7 still never really hit my radar too much. Like, I like it, but for whatever reason, Final Fantasy VII, this remake just completely consumed me. And it's as it stands right now, I don't know what the future holds for this, but I like this version way more than the original Final Fantasy VII by a country mile.
My very first review was Final Fantasy VII. By the way, oh hi there, short attention gamer. Happy New Year. Yes, Monster Train. Fucking Monster Train. Everybody talks about Monster Train.
I'm not sure anybody on staff has played Monster Train.
Did you play it, Zach, at all?
Yeah, I've been playing it on I got it on Game Pass. I've been playing it. Some of my friends are like,
okay, I'll pick it up. Okay, Final Fantasy VII. My first review that I ever did. I did it on my Fortune City blog. Remember Fortune City, guys? Like the Geocities that was supposed to be fancier, and I butchered it, and it was just a stupid, typical college student level review back in 97 when the game released, or 98 whenever I completed it. And I was like, this game is dumb. I liked it, but it was dumb. And somebody actually hacked my Fortune City site because I spoke poorly of Final Fantasy VII. And that was my first time interacting with trolls.
Man, early internet was also devout. It was like awesome. Final Fantasy VII was a religion.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Do you remember the Final Fantasy house? Do you remember that?
Yes.
That crazy cult of people.
Yep. Anyway, sorry. Final Fantasy, great choice. Great choice.
Yeah, those are my 5. I'll just do honorable mention of Star Wars Squadrons, just because I think that game's way better than I think its attention has been given to it. It's a really good, cheap, extensive Star Wars game, and I love it.
Excellent. Aaron, what are your 5?
My 5 are in no particular order, because I didn't feel the need to actually sit down and figure out a 5 to 1. So it's just top 5. I have Teamfight Tactics. I mentioned that earlier. That one,
you are deep into that one, man.
Yeah, I haven't played that game. I played all through, I guess, the first season. However, and a little bit into season 2, and then I dropped it. But it was a lot during that first season. I was putting in 16-hour days.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was playing a lot. I was streaming a lot of it. And that game, there's something about Riot Games where they can do a thing that somebody else has done and just make it hook you in a way that other thing doesn't. Riot came out with League of Legends. There were already MOBAs out there. There was Heroes of New Earth. There was the Warcraft 3 mod, which started it all. There were a couple others. And I tried them all, and I was just like, nah, I don't like any of these. And then I played League, and I was like, yeah, guess I'm playing this competitively for a while, and did that. And Teamfight was the same way, where I got into the auto chess games with the mod on Steam for Dota 2, and then with the standalone, and then Teamfight Tactics I picked up. It was the last one that I messed with, and I was like, yeah, I can get behind this. I don't know. I don't recognize half these characters because I haven't played League in so long, but it's like, yeah, I'll play this. So yeah, that's on there. I've got PGA Tour 2K21 on there.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I got so good at that game that I could start up a fresh PGA Tour, take less than 5 seconds per shot, and still come in first every match.
Wow.
That was originally, that's the golf club, right? It's the same game as
the golf club. Yeah.
And then that team went on to do the PGA stuff. Perfect team to do that. They made the right fucking call for that because the golf club was like on the verge of greatness, and just with a little extra money,
they've even got like little shout outs to the golf club in there. Like there's a golf club, like one of the courses is like the golf club course, and there's like the golf clubs and stand clothes and stuff like that. I made Voldemort.
Nice.
I made Voldemort with the character creator.
You mean yourself?
Yeah, I designed that character, and then I could play online as Tom de Mort from France.
Tom de Mort.
And it was awesome because I was just constantly going on about how, like, I don't even remember the shit I was spouting. I'm sure I've put it in the Discord before, but it was all just like blatant Harry Potter references and how I definitely wasn't the Dark Lord. Shit like that. Running around on the course with my golf eaters. Like
your
that.
golf feeders. That's great. I like
ridiculous shit like that. I've got the Final Fantasy VII remake on there.
Okay.
I hated Final Fantasy VII. When Final Fantasy VII came out, the week that game came out, I was on the way to a Maritimes wide. The Maritimes is like 4 provinces. It's or 3 provinces depending on how you count it. I was on my way to a Maritimes wide church camp. It was a week church camp that took place in New Brunswick with hundreds of kids. And one of the things we got to do was, one of the groups went to the nearest city and like had a big like shopping spree. And I stopped in at a game store and picked up Final Fantasy VII and the strategy guide because I was going to be at this fucking camp for like 2 weeks and couldn't play the game because there were no consoles there. So I just had the game because I had to buy it when I got home. And I just obsessively read the strategy guide because I was a huge Final Fantasy fan. And then I got myself so crazy hyped for that game. And then I finally got home and started playing that game. And that game sucked. I hated that game. I hated Final Fantasy VII so much. And over the years, every couple of years, I try to go back and like play it and beat it. And I've gotten to the point where I get to the part of the game where if you go any further, you're in the end game and you can't do anything else. And I just stopped. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm out. I'm not beating this fucking game. And so the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I've talked about it on the show before. The Final Fantasy VII Remake, in the lead up to that, I started making all these crazy fucking predictions. I was like, I know how this shit's going to go. It's going to be all these different twists, and I can see them coming a mile away. I was like 90% right.
That's awesome.
I nailed a lot of that. And I was like, yeah. And so I'm playing that game, and these little things start happening. I'm sitting there playing it going like, yeah, I can see where this is going. And then they get to the end of that game, and I might not have liked Final Fantasy VII, but I liked a lot of the spin-off games. And they get to the end of that game, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, yes.
Yeah, man.
So now I'm just like, I don't like Final Fantasy VII. I'm not a big fan of, like, I'm not a fan of those characters, that world. I really want to see the next one. I want to know what happens.
Whenever that is.
2027.
After all the new Kingdom Hearts stuff comes out.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, exactly. I have Hades on my list.
Awesome. Okay.
I will champion pretty much anything Supergiant does. Yep. I fucking love all of their games. I was a huge Bastion fan. I think I went hard on Bastion.
I have the bandana still hanging on my wall.
Nice. There it is.
I really like Transistor. I know a lot of people didn't like the gameplay of Transistor. I'm one of those people. I thought it was just the wrong side of too complicated.
Yeah.
But I really like the story of that game. Kind of the same sort of the same deal for honestly why I've put so much time into Cyberpunk. Like that's just the right kind of story to really do for me. I liked Pyre. I didn't think it was all that complicated.
Basketball beat.
Yeah, so I liked Hades. I like Greek mythology. I think that world is really cool, and I think to put it in the words of YouTube personality ProZD, I knew that game was going to be huge because you could see the internet made it fucky alarm going off so quickly with that game.
Yeah, they did. They got horny for that game real fast.
Yeah, they did. And then finally on my list, I have Littlewood.
Littlewood. Wow. Yep. Yeah, I remember you playing this sucker.
I played so much of that game. If you don't know what that game is, it's basically a town, like a super relaxing, like Harvest Moon Stardew style town builder. And the story is that the hero fought the big bad villain and won, and woke up with amnesia, and like the conflict is done, and you just wake up in like this patch of land with like the couple of people from your crew, and they're just like, all right, I guess we're building a village now. And then people move in, and neighbors want like different things. Like, oh, I don't want to live next to this guy because he's a douchebag. Put me up on a hill, and you just build a cool town, and that's that game. That game's really good. And then I have a dishonorable mention on Cyberpunk 2077.
Because you poured so many hours into it.
Yep, exactly. I love the story of that game. I don't think anybody should ever have to play that game. I don't think that game plays very well. I have over 100 hours in that game. Somebody help me.
So curious to see how it comes up. This is your perfect 7 in that it's not a great game, but it gets the job done, and you're fine letting it get the job done. It's a worker. It's a work.
Cyberpunk 2077 is the game that is the absolute embodiment of the phrase for fans of the genre.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's my list, and like I said, those are in no particular order. If we're not picking a game of the year,
Cyberpunk 2077 to me is the JJ. You might get this reference. It's the Brooklyn Brawler, potentially of 2020.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
It's a workhorse. There's really there's no real issues with it outside of some of the more technical stuff. But
there you go.
But it's going to be long. It's going to have a long-lasting career in the industry.
Yes, there you go. It'll have a long-lasting career. We know there's stuff coming. There's already DLC coming out. I'm gonna go into my top 5 because we're gonna end with Zach's. Although I will say so far, Final Fantasy VII and a little bit of Hades, getting some strong mentions there. So there are. I gotta say, both you gentlemen have essentially completely different lists, except for Final Fantasy VII. But completely different lists there. Okay, here are mine. I will throw down Hades as well. And that was a game that I started playing. I picked it up on day 1 and started playing it. And I thought, a couple runs in, it's not, I don't know, not really my thing. Maybe it was the timing that, when did that game come out? Like September or something. And I'm like, you know what? It's just timing wise. I'm playing other games. I think I was knee deep in some other stuff. And I thought I'll put it aside. And I didn't get back into it until this week. And earlier this week, got into it, I think on Monday, and son of a bitch could not put it down. Could not put it down. It mechanically, it's not great. It plays like a lot of other, over 3/4 perspective, whatever, the isometric perspective action games, and can be kind of hard to aim some of the weapons and stuff. But there is a fantastic little hook to keep me coming right back in and playing it. I'm gonna do another run. Fuck it. I got 10 minutes before I got to go do my laundry finished. I'm gonna do another run. And it weaves together so well with the story elements and the narrative and how you start choosing some characters, and the boons of some of the characters over others, and those characters get pissed off at you, so they start fucking with you. There's some really nice touches in the game, and I just saw the tweet the other day. I think Zach, you posted it as well, of how many thousands and thousands of lines of like recorded dialogue.
It was like 300,000.
Yes.
It's so funny.
Hi, Kyle Gathering. Yes, it's
so funny how that game came out like at the exact same time as Spelunky 2, and everyone kicked Spelunky 2 to the curb real hard, real fast.
There's IGN on the YouTube channel. They've got a feature where they have the developers of certain games watch speed runs of the games.
Yeah.
And the one for Hades is great because they're talking about how when they were writing all of the dialogue for the game, somebody on the team realized that they were going to have to write dialogue for if somebody inexplicably managed to beat the game the first time through. Because they didn't have anything for it, and every piece of dialogue references like how long it took you to actually beat it. Yep. But it wouldn't make sense if you beat it on your first time through, so they had to get dialogue in specifically for that. And like now that's a
somebody potentially doing that. I could see it. It's
a speedrun category, yeah,
exactly. It's pretty. It's the kind of game, like I said, it's got its teeth in me, and I'm loving it on Switch. It's just the perfect game to just chill out and watch football or watch something on TV. I mean, literally, I was playing it as the ball was dropping yesterday for New Year's. It's so cool, and it's a perfect blend. And again, it's not like the perfect game by any means, but it checks every freaking box that I needed for a video game right now. And I think that to me is infinitely replayable. Characters are all endearing, phenomenal writing. And I'm going to, even after I complete it, whenever that is, because I'm really horrible at roguelikes. I'm going to be playing it over and over again because it really is that kind of game. So
you know that meme, the Futurama meme that's like big on Twitter and stuff with Fry with like the really narrowed like eyes, like The first I almost didn't keep playing Hades. I would start playing and then I'd just sort of get bored like in the middle of a run and be like, I'll try again later. The first time that I failed a run and then kept playing and those characters are like, oh, you fucking failed, did you? That meme was me. That meme was like, I'm gonna keep playing this game. Fuck you,
motherfuckers! How dare you?
It was so good because every time I loved getting chewed out and yelled at by the characters and made fun of. I thought that was just so good. It made me feel good inside to get made fun of by everybody. Like people just laughing at me, like, nice try. Oh, the witch killed you again. Yeah, you might want to not want to get killed by them. So
learn to dodge, idiot.
Yeah, learn to dodge. It's so good. Yeah, Hades. Speaking of roguelike games, I really enjoyed Star Renegades, and that was one that a little more, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, obviously, but for me, it was the mix of that sort of Game Boy Advance 16, somewhere between 16 and 24, 32-bit style, and really cool kind of character design. The premise is cool and why you keep getting sort of shifted and stuff into other dimensions. I think that was really kind of a cool way to do it. I haven't completed the game because I get my ass handed to me every time I get far enough along and have to restart. But again, another thing I'm okay with, another game that checks every box that I needed. I'm playing it on PC. I do also want to get it on the Switch because I feel like that's another game that I could just sit on the Switch and play endlessly over and over again.
Do you remember when we were both playing that game when it first came out and I had beaten it and I told you that there was a massive twist?
Yeah,
I'm still waiting for you to beat that game so I can finally talk about that twist.
And I'm gonna get back in it. And likely, what'll happen is I'll end up picking it up for Switch and beating it on Switch before I ever beat it on PC. But that's on my list for the upcoming month or so here. So really kind of get more time into it. Sorry, the lateness of being up over the last couple of days got to me. But yeah, Star Renegades. just love the idea behind it, and they're constantly releasing new planets and stuff. I think they just released new planets the other day too, so there's some cool things that seems to be happening there. Astro's Playroom for the PS5. Fuck, man, for a tutorial, all this is like, hey, this is how you use the controller, and this literally is a tech demo. But it's
just showing you all the cool shit the controller can do, and that's the extent of the game.
I hate that game is the game that got so crazy, because I would love to buy a PS5 just to get in on the speed running that's like that everybody's going crazy for.
You want to get into a blood feud with Grub, and
I could every one of it. I could beat him so badly, but you can't find a PS5, and by the time that I get one, nobody's going to give a shit about Astro's Playroom anymore.
Yeah, true. No, so the game only takes a couple hours at most to like complete, if you want to say complete.
Yeah.
And it's not as much of a game as it is. Here's a couple like 3 or 4 different areas that we want you to just kind of go through and try different aspects. I mean, there's
how satisfying is the feeling of the triggers when you do the vending machine, the roulette,
it's so satisfying, and it's gonna be one of those things where these don't appear in too many games. It's just really cool, and if they only ever make a bunch of Astro games that use the controller and nothing else comes of this controller, I'm okay with it, because the game itself is pretty. Utilizing the controller is pretty fucking cool, and it's
there's only like 3 games that are using the controller in an interesting way right now. Anyways, you have like WRC, and you have like Call of Duty with the triggers, and that's pretty much it.
So yeah, great. It's just tons of fun, and it comes for free.
Yeah,
it's great. Excuse me. The best PS5 launch title is a free game, so there you go. It's worth it. Yes, Bugsnax is also a free game too. Final Fantasy VII Remake is a game I started today, mere hours ago. I thought I'm gonna give that game a shot. Like you guys, I thoroughly enjoyed the original Final Fantasy game, because I had just come, and again, I was in college. I just come off of Final Fantasy VI, and I think it had been enough time after Final Fantasy VI where we didn't receive anything. So I had gone and gotten like ROMs of Final Fantasy V, and I was part of a group that was trying to translate stuff, and I was looking up like kanji online and translate. I'm like, okay, what does this mean? And we would all like send each other messages here. So we were kind of rehacking the ROMs and doing like fan translations and stuff. I was a little tiny bit of it. I couldn't read kanji right now if I saw any symbol up there, but
what a nerd.
But I got into Final Fantasy V because of it. Because I was waiting for another Final Fantasy game. Nothing was being released. Then Final Fantasy VII finally comes out, and it was, for me, it was the future of RPGs, and by that I meant it went 3D. It looked awesome. It was relatively speaking back then. It really was an evolution of what RPGs could be. It still kept enough of that Final Fantasy backbone, but it introduced all these new aspects like the materia system, the way summons work, the whole world, the interpersonal relationships, the chocobo farming and stuff. So there was a ton of stuff that I really liked about the game. I just felt that it was a little disjointed with the, so much stuff happening on that first disc in the city, and then everything else is just like, the second disc is just a whole open world with a bunch of tiny little areas, and then the third disc is really just one fight and a FMV sequence. And so I think that's kind of what I wrote in my original review. Just the first like 2.5-3 hours of Final Fantasy VII that I'm playing right now, I'm completely digging where it's going, and I put it on my list, only having a few hours put in, because if nothing else, if the rest of the game is like these first 3-4 hours, however much I put in, then I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna really enjoy it. And I know stuff changes, and from everything you guys have told me, especially Aaron, what you were just saying now, all the twists and turns, I'm gonna absolutely love it going forward.
It's also genuinely beautiful. Like, it's a game that looks gorgeous.
Yes, there is. When you look at Cyberpunk, and again, I'm also liking, like I said, I like Cyberpunk. I understand the issues. The two games that people have been waiting for that came out this year: Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 7. Yeah. Which one of those fucking delivered? And not just delivered, but like blew expectations away. And that was fun. To me, Final Fantasy 7 seems to be doing that so far. So, I put Final Fantasy 7 on there. And my last one is Animal Crossing. To me, that game meant the most to me this year. Definitely not the best game, quality-wise. There are all kinds of issues with Animal Crossing. But it, I mentioned, some of the other games like check boxes. This one hit the right notes, I guess you could say, in that it allowed me. It happened right at the fucking beginning of this pandemic, and I was able to get away because nobody knew if they were going to be going anywhere this whole year. Guess what? We haven't. We were all able to connect and do shit in Animal Crossing. And I really do wish the multiplayer was better, because if the multiplayer was slightly better, then this game would have been easily the best game of the year on multiple levels. But I think the multiplayer aspect is missing that. But it really did hit everything I needed. It gave me, granted, I'm helping my daughter every day, my wife every day, for the folks that are working from home. My daughter's schooling stuff. My wife is at the office now at her work. I'm working from home. But over the year, it gave me other people to take care of and interact with regularly, where I was so used to bumping into coworkers all the time, and my barista at my Tim Hortons, and my, the folks in my lunch line, in our lunchroom, the cafe at the office. I lost all those folks, because I was stuck at home. This gave me people to interact with every day, characters to interact with every day, whether it was doing little things for them, or building stuff for them, or building stuff for me, or doing little chores. Really, it literally is a game about chores. Catch 3 fish. Okay, I got my 3 fish, Dad. What do I do next? Okay, I got to pull weeds. Okay, all these weeds. It's a game about chores, but I needed that, and I think a lot of people really gravitated towards that game this year and that's why the sales are astounding. I think for 22, it was the second or third highest most sold game behind both Call of Duties.
It came out 2 weeks after, or even a week after we all were just
literally,
everyone eventually just got shut down. All right,
the pandemic was the perfect ARG for.
I really expected, because it came out the same time as Doom Eternal, and I really expected Doom Eternal to be on my list as a favorite game this year. I like Doom Eternal, but it just
I'm so
hit that spot right. But Animal Crossing delivered.
It delivered. And it's still delivering. We just did the countdown yesterday for New Year's, which was pretty cute. But that game to me was, my island is garbage. It literally is just I built up I just found lots for houses, kind of put them off the side, and that's where my folks moved in. That was it. I haven't done stuff besides chores. And then I do the whole dream theme where I've gone to Corey's island or Sam's island, and they're blow my island away. But there's just some really cool, the cool aspects to it. And I thought it really hit everything. I poured the most hours into it outside of some of the older games that I played. I poured the most hours into it this year of any game that I played. So that to me is my favorite game because of the whole experience behind it. Not necessarily the best game, but my favorite game. I'm going to throw honorable mentions to old games, because I finally started plowing through my backlog. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, last year's Call of Duty game, 2019 Call of Duty game, fucking awesome. How the hell did I not get through the campaign the first time around? But that's great. Campaign, great multiplayer. I'm really enjoying Warzone.
Did you? I would say Warzone was this year, right? That was.
No, they actually had it built in last year. It was actually last year. Yeah.
I think it went standalone this year.
Yes, it
was also technically in Black Ops 4 too. They built on a Black Ops 4 thing.
They built on it. The story for Modern Warfare is still being built up. They're still waiting for final aspects of that story. God of War 2018. Finished that. Holy shit! That may have given Spider-Man a run had I finished. Unbelievable. Octopath Traveler, I put up a jillion hours into that fucker.
We're not talking about Octopath Traveler from another podcast.
And then Breath of the Wild. I
that
mentioned Breath of the Wild, but fuck, that's maybe my favorite game of all time now. I think it surpassed Link to the Past. We've talked about it in the Discord, but there's just something unbelievable about Breath of the Wild.
It was unanimous on when we did our game of the decade.
So, anyways, I played through those games, and also Treachery and Beatdown City. I do think people should play that game. I didn't rank it as high, but that's a great game to pick up.
I finally started playing that because it popped up on some Games Pass or something. Sure. And something I was like that. Okay. He said it was good. I'll try it. You're right. It's a really
cool.
fun game.
It's a cool game. So, anyways, those are my 5 and a couple of lectures. And now we need to get to Zach. Zach, you want to share yours? Is it just video, or is it you're going to do the audio, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to do video for like my last two picks, because the first three I have music in there, and I realized that probably make the video get taken down on YouTube. So I'm trying to go ahead and do my.
No, what will happen is it ends up muting. It'll either mute the section, or it will just say you can't monetize it, which is okay. We're not monetizing anything. Unless you just want to talk over it, that's fine too.
I'll just talk through. Well, like I'm gonna talk through anyways, but I'll just talk through the last two because there's a good joke in there, at least to me, that I want you to see. Okay, so my number 5 is Kingdom Hearts Memory of Melody. It's
all right.
The Kingdom Hearts rhythm game is really unique because it does a good job of feeling like a Kingdom Hearts game while being a rhythm game. And it's just fun to play through all the worlds and get to see a different side of the story from a different character's point of view. And you get to like relive the whole series from the beginning to where it is now, and then you get to see the next part of the world at the end of that. So I just think it's cool that they always put the most intense lore in Kingdom Hearts games in the most random spots. Like the phone games have probably the most lore dumps, I think, for the Kingdom Hearts world, and then now this. So yeah, so that's fun. Then my number 4, I guess, is Final Fantasy VII Remake. That game is just so good. We've said pretty much all I was going to say about it, but I really love when creatives get to have IPs and get to do what they want with them without, I don't want to say being they don't have to worry about being respectful. Like they can be disrespectful in their own ways.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of leave it at that, because there's a lot of things that happen in this game that people who love Final Fantasy VII get mad at, and I love it. I just love when fans get mad about stuff like that. Like that makes me happy.
It's disrespecting the canon, but not in a sort of malicious way, but more in a like it's an artist being an artist, and I fucking love it when they get to just unload.
I'm just gonna throw this idea out here right quick. I know we're not having a site game of the year, but there's one game that every single one of us.
I think we have a site game of the year.
Let's let Zach finish his list, and we can discuss that after. Yeah.
Okay, so and then it's just fun to have Mr. Tetsuya Homura do his thing. Like he does this in all the Kingdom Hearts games, and now I get to see him kind of do it with Final Fantasy lore and say, hey, the stuff that you like about Final Fantasy, I don't really like that, so you get to enjoy all the stuff that I like. So that's fun. It's fun to see like Advent Children lore pop up, just weird stuff that people don't really care about.
I think here's a character from one of the novels that we're going to give a whole side quest to.
I think it's great to do that because again, you like you said, you give creatives that power to, or the give them the space to play with it, because they'll pick and choose the right things to put in there. And we talked about the original Final Fantasy VII. It was fine. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. There's a great big divide. But now you've built up all this lore around it, like you said, Aaron. There's stuff coming in, twists and turns, and Zach, you mentioned it too. They're pulling things from all these different aspects now. They're saying, hey, you know what? There actually are some cool things around the original Final Fantasy game that I think really help.
I think what people don't understand is people are really dedicated to this idea of what Final Fantasy VII is, and they don't realize that the lore, like the extra games that came out that a lot of people say are bad, make the original game actually a lot better.
Fucking
Like
Christ, of course,
at
awesome.
least what I think. So them kind of consolidating the lore for this world and making it into like one thing is pretty cool. Yeah, and the combat I think does an amazing job of translating the ATB system from the original game, like hopping in between Barrett and Cloud and Tifa and Aerith, and like jumping in between, say, okay, I'm gonna use Barrett's like lightning shock or whatever to stun this guy, and then switch to Cloud and Needle, and then switch to Tifa to like somersault. Like it's just so fun.
Awesome.
And especially on hard difficulties, they make you actually pay attention and try.
Yeah.
The Monster House, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
That fight is hard as shit, and so,
Yeah.
yeah, they want you to pay attention. They want you to try, and that's really good. That's what I like about his combat design is he always has this really good eye about harder modes being for people who want to like play, and that's fun. Like play at like a higher level. So yeah, then guess we'll move into my third, which is 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which is a Shenmue if it was good game. So they kind of take like the idea of like Shenmue, like people have lives type of thing, and a character that talks to themselves and you have items to interact with the world and do things, but then it's a visual novel on top of that. And the story is, I still don't want to spoil it, but it's pretty neat. It takes place in 5 different timelines, between 13 characters, all hopping in between different timelines, all their own different history, lore, different angles coming about this situation of these like kaiju attacking Earth and needing to get into mechs and fight and stuff. So you have that, then you have these character relationships that are just growing, and to see like, oh, in 2172 or whatever, this character liked this character, but now they don't, and what's going on here, what's going on there. It's really cool. The way it's written is interestingly like mature. They handle themes and things that are touchy in really great ways, but also handle the weird kind of like pulp sci-fi stuff with the same kind of like smart, slow, meticulous kind of hand of like writing and talking about things. So it has a really consistent voice. Yeah, it's just so fun to see that story unfold and figuring out how to make branching paths happen. And
seeing the response from people online is pretty crazy, because that game over the last week or 2 weeks, I've seen so many posts on like Twitter and social media and stuff, people saying, hey, you know what? This game is a sleeper. You really should check out 13 Signals. Aegis Rim is pretty cool. So it's kind of this interesting thing that you're starting to see all over the place. Everyone's starting to talk about this game. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, we reviewed it.
Okay, so now I guess I can share my screen.
Yeah, hit the share screen. Yeah. Let me know if you need any help.
Okay.
That sucker. I'll set us to this guy. Okay, there we go. Add to screen. All right, look at that. Number two.
Okay. See how the sound is.
It probably won't. I don't think we'll actually be able to hear anything.
Is that the Resident Evil 2 font?
Yeah, we won't be able to hear anything because.
Well, if you can't hear anything, then I'll just talk. I'll just make it
minimize that part. Keep the other part open. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Okay, right. So number 2. Oh, there's a fun little gag I have here. There's a song in Hades. So my number 2 is Hades. There's a song in Hades that has the Doom riff, has a E1 him one like a so it has that riff, and that was my joke. Was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be Doom, but no, it's Hades. So yeah, Hades is the game is so good. I can't really say anything that other people haven't already said, but what
there's Aphrodite's boons, baby.
But what I will say is, you know that guy who played The Last of Us 2, and he was like, every other game is like John Wick, but The Last of Us 2 is like Schindler's List,
Yeah,
right?
oh, yeah.
He said that. Well, he should have played this game because this game is like the most. I don't even know how to say it. Like the best family drama with the purest heart.
It's so crazy. And it keeps spanning outward, like the whole family shit. You don't realize it's about family until you're like 10 runs into it, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? This is not what I was thinking.
And the ending is probably the best part of the entire game. It's such a sweet ending. It gave me goosebumps. It made me cry. Like, it's so good. It's different than what you'd expect. There's a lot of cool things that happen. Characters talk, things change. Yeah, it's cute. Like, it's kind of weird to say, like with this game,
look at you go,
how
man.
it
Holy
looks.
shit.
Like this game's cute. Like, it has a really nice, warm heart to it, and it's probably
surprisingly playful.
Yeah.
And it fits Supergiant and how they are as like a team and how they work. Like, it's just kind of them, like, as a whole on screen as you're playing it. And I love how it plays too. Like you can see me over here just like going crazy because I'm a person that likes to like figure out animation cancels and how to do this, how to do that. So,
okay, all right, nice.
Whatever, yeah. So I'm a little crazy the dude that plays games like that. Dude, it's so crazy. But yeah, no, this game is so fun. I love the art. The art is so gorgeous.
That's great. It's an evolution of their style.
Yeah, their style definitely has changed. Yeah, so that's number 2. A lot of y'all took my spots of what I was gonna my thoughts of what I was gonna say about it. But number 1, there's a lot of Hades. Number 1 is definitely Doom Eternal.
Nice.
I could talk about this game for hours. Like, I love this game, and I really didn't realize how much I loved it until I went back to capture footage because like, oh yeah, Doom's like number 2, number 3. I went back and I just like was like, oh my god, this game is so good. Yeah. So Doom Eternal is this. It's like speed chess. That's how the devs describe this game. Weapons combat certain things specifically for characters, for bad guys, and it's kind of this like dance you have. So there's constant changes of how you approach combat. That's really fun, but it's also happening like breakneck speed. So it's sort of like, okay, I need to get rid of this cannon to get up there and do this, and then shoot him with the super shotgun, then dash back, and then hit him with the grenade, and then hit this shield with this, and it's all like a span of like five seconds, and you're just juggling all these like balls, and it's insane. It's intense, and if you like slip up once, you can just like
it's
die.
over.
Like,
yeah.
So it's just such a fun game to just like learn what you're doing wrong.
It's really funny to see them sort of abuse what the gameplay of Doom is to such a weird degree, because it's so barely a first-person shooter in a lot of aspects, like, because it really is a platformer first more than anything. There's a lot of like, it helps you to have precision aiming in a Doom game, but like, you don't have time to really be precise. So you've really got to have a feel for what you're doing in this game more than actually being able to stop, think it out, and do it. You just have to know. You have to be able to speak the game's language, like in a second. You don't have a whole lot of time to think about it.
That's what the director Hugo Martin. I think in my little thing I wrote, I said, a story made up by fifth graders at the lunch table, gameplay that was designed by the Albert Einstein of FPS games. Hugo Martin is like he's such a genius with the design of Doom, and he understands what Doom is. And even when he talks to people, like talking to like IGN and stuff, like talking about the game, he says like, if you don't do what I want you to do, you won't have fun. But within but within the realm of what I want you to do, there's tons of fun to be had. So like what JJ was saying, like you have to speak the language of the game to actually like have fun, which is why I think a lot of people don't like it as much as they did 2016, because this game is very forceful. Like, hey, like if you don't do this and if you don't think on your feet and be smart 24/7, like you're just going to have a bad time. But yeah, I love this game so much. I love the lore. The lore is so cool. But it's like it's so dumb. It's so stupid.
It's funny because it definitely is like the best storytelling this franchise has ever had. But that doesn't mean it's good. It's just it's the right kind of stupid where it just resonates in a good way. This game is a game. This game is a game that was sort of like in the like circling around my top 5 for a while. It really was up there because I really like.
And you mentioned it too.
Yeah, I played it in waves. Like I played it a lot when it first came out, and I kind of stopped, and then I went back to it a couple of months ago and got sucked right back into it. Like I'm right there with you on this one. It's a fair game of the year contender.
Doom Eternal for me is weird because for a lot of games, and I'm sure I even phrased it this way on the show. A lot of games, if they're a bad game, but the story grips me, then I'll give the game a chance. I'll keep playing it. Doom Eternal is one where I really don't like the story of Doom Eternal, but the gameplay is so good.
Yeah,
it's one of the few examples of like the opposite thing for me, where it's like, this game just plays so good that I'll play this game even if I don't want to listen to the dialogue.
I fucking love
Doom 2016 I love because the Doom 2016 they come at you with this story and the Doomslayer does not give a fuck.
No, like he immediately just is like, fuck you, pow, and just goes off on you.
And that's amazing. But then Doom Eternal, it was like, wow, they're really going hard with this lore.
Dude, like
I do like that everyone in the game is like has had enough of the Doomslayer shit. Like they're just so sick and tired of this guy.
Like I honestly think the coolest aspect of the story though is that like corporate like entities were like, we need to like trade the earth with hell to get more like energy for earth, and then angels came and teleport. Like it is so good. Like it's so good, but it's also like trying to like even talk about it is like, man, this is like a 5th grader like wrote it down like crayons and stuff. Like,
I love that they went back and sort of retroactively shoved some of this lore into Doom 64 with the levels and stuff too. That was cool. I love Doom 64. I've always been a big fan of that game, and to have them shove that back out and then to shove some Doom Eternal stuff like bonus shit at the end of that game was beautiful for me.
It's really astonishing how they're able to shove so much character into the Doomslayer, who's just basically like at his core, he's like a 6th grader who's really mad. Like that's really what he is. He's just mad because someone killed his pet. Like that's like his lore. Like someone killed my bunny. I'm gonna go kill all these dudes. Like that's just kind of his thing. But like he has so much personality to him, even though he talks once maybe. But like the way people react to him in the world, like, oh god, it's the Doomslayer. What do we do? Like, it's so funny.
God damn.
But I bought the DLC and I've been playing through that, and it's like I haven't played the game since it came out, and like I tried to play the DLC just like from the get go. Nope. Like I just like have to play the whole game again so I can learn the steps and learn how everything interlocks, because the game does a really good job of building that up throughout the whole campaign. And this new story is like, hey, do you remember all that stuff from 5 months ago? Like, no? Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, that's mine.
It's a great list. Great list, dude. Great list for all of us. Great list for all of us. And that's why I think, Aaron, you were saying something before
we got. I can't speak for everybody on site, but we have 4 of us on the show right now. After we all unanimously agreed that this year,
Fight Tactics.
Yep, SideQuesting was not going to do a game of the year. We've
Windjammers, game of the year again. Windjammers.
It's Windjammers. All four of us have Final Fantasy VII Remake on our list.
Yeah.
We all have pretty different lists, except for the fact that we've all got Final Fantasy VII Remake on there.
We all spent at least 5 minutes explaining why we like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Literally.
I mean, I think we got to give it to Final Fantasy VII Remake. SideQuesting's 2020 Game of the Year.
I guess so. Looks like I have to write a post.
We don't even have to fight about it. Like, we all just have it.
I'm the outlier that doesn't have Hades on there.
Yeah, Hades is probably the close one, but even Gan played Final Fantasy VII and liked it. So there's something there. I don't know if Sam played it. We'll have to ask him, but yeah, there we go.
You guys know, I was 2 years old when Final Fantasy VII first came out.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Allie.
I think I was dating your mom. No, just kidding.
I think that was what, 97?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was 10.
I was 17 or 18, something like that. 17, 18 years old. 17, 18. Yeah, 18 years old, 97. Yeah.
I was like 12 or 13 when it came out. So
Okay. Oh man, 2 years old. What a baby. Corey, I think, was also like right around there. Corey's not he's not an older dude, so he's pretty young. Oh man. Well, there we go. Congratulations, Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, there you go. Aaron's just taking a shot for that. I'm done with. Oh, I have a little bit left. Let me take my. I'm drinking Winter Jack after I started with some moonshine, but it's very light. It's like water right now. Great stuff. How did you guys overall feel about 2020 from video game releases standpoint?
There's a lot of good stuff that came out, actually.
yeah, it's like because like you know, I know both me and you, Zach, definitely liked Ghost of Tsushima.
Mhm.
And like in like a normal year, that's like a Game of the Year contender. But like there was some there was some unique nonsense that came out this year that just sort of ate it up because it's a safe game. Ghost of Tsushima is a safe game. I liked Last of Us Part 2.
Okay.
That was a contentious game and for good reason. But yeah, I like Last of Us Part 2. But again, it's like any
Safe.
Other year would it was safe. It was even when it's the storytelling and it's so dark and it's like, yeah, well, fuck you. It's the same game as the first one. Just
you know how I know that 2020 was a good year for games?
Yeah.
Because we got to maybe August.
Yeah.
And I was sitting here thinking about everything that's come out this year, like how much good stuff is coming and was still slated to come out. And I started to get into the mindset of like, well, how does this stack up to 98?
Yeah.
And if a year gets to that point, you know it's been a good year.
Yeah, because like I didn't put Animal Crossing on my list, but fuck, Animal Crossing isn't great.
Yeah.
I'm playing right now. I'm playing the new Watch Dogs and new Assassin's Creed, and those are actually really good examples of those games. Like Assassin's Creed, really fucking good.
We haven't talked much about those because they came out towards the end of the year, but there were some great games.
I'm having a ball with Watch Dogs Legion. It's by far not really a great game, but it's the first time playing that game that franchise where I feel like the tools and the hardware is there to sort of make it worth playing. Like it feels like I'm actually doing what they've always wanted me to do with it. And I'm like I'm having fun with that game.
I really want to see what the next Watch Dogs game looks like.
Yeah.
Because Watch Dogs 2 could not exist without the mechanics of Watch Dogs 1, although it improved significantly on it.
Sure.
Watch Dogs 2 had a hell of a story and characters.
Mm-hmm.
And Legion comes out. Legion has taken those mechanics and improved upon them and added new stuff.
Yeah.
And essentially blown that side of the game out of the water. But at least for me, the story of Legion
went backwards. Story.
Yeah,
wise.
I'm like,
I love
Watch Dogs 4.
Yeah, I love the world of Watch Dogs. It's like this like cyberpunk future of like 2033 or something. I forget what everything's just sort of advanced enough and everything it plays really well. It's really fun to play.
There's this constant will they, won't they, where like like Assassin's Creed, like the modern sections and Watch Dogs, they kind of hint toward each other, maybe a little bit, but they're never explicit about it. It's like, is that just give me that? Like, is that what it is?
Make it.
Yeah, just
Let me play this shit in the modern sections of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Oh god, that would be great. Holy shit, would that be cool?
They're explicitly teasing it these days of like of it being a shared universe at this point, and they're catching up to each other really quick in terms of time frame. It only like, what is that game? What do you call the game that is the Assassin's Creed Watch Dogs game?
Maybe Assassin's Creed Watch Dogs.
I would need to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure that Assassin's Creed Origins. The one with Bayek, that's Origins, right?
Origins.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive that game in the one of the modern sections, there's an email that references Aiden Pierce.
No, there absolutely was. I can't remember. I can't remember if it was Origins or, I don't think it was Odyssey.
I don't think it was Odyssey because I haven't played Odyssey.
Yeah. So there you go. So I think it was. There definitely was an Aiden Pierce reference in one of them. So yeah.
Trying to track this dude down and find out if he's an assassin or not.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, the way the stories play out, I mean, it makes sense in a lot of ways that there's going to be some sort of Templar nonsense, and Abstergo being like an evil entity in a Watch Dogs universe makes a shit ton of sense. So.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
So
I mean, for me, it was a really solid year. Had they spaced some of these games out a little bit more, like the stuff that came towards the very end of the year, if that was kind of spaced out a little bit, I think just because some stuff got so delayed throughout the year, I think that really kind of hurt the overall impression of 2020. Because Watch Dogs was actually initially supposed to come out in like April, right? Something like that, and they pushed that back. Imagine if that did come out in April, and then you had Watch Dogs come out like hand in hand with Assassin's Creed. They were like exactly
a week apart at best.
Yep. And really, those came out, and people were only waiting for Cyberpunk. Like they said,
it came out,
but Cyberpunk is coming out. And so I think the Cyberpunk specter sort of overshadowed the other games. But I think it was a great year. It's funny because I look at, like, let's say Nintendo, they had Animal Crossing, and I think that was it.
They had the Mario thing, the racing thing.
No. Those aren't like. I have the Mario racing thing. I have the 3D All Stars. Nothing is like groundbreaking from Nintendo.
Because like their biggest release. Yeah, the biggest like first party release would have been Animal Crossing and Paper Mario. And Origami King's a good game, but even like by 2020 standards, it's not even.
I think they probably realized, they probably realized they don't want to compete with next gen consoles. So why pump out games at the moment? B, Animal Crossing is still killing it, and there's still a pandemic, so people are still buying Animal Crossing, and they're still buying the Switch because all the stuff from the last couple of years, like Ring Fit and stuff. So
and let's be honest, they knew that they were going to lean heavily into it just being Zelda to push copies of Age of Calamity. Like
right, exactly.
Like it's like this.
Even though I'm playing that game, I forget that that's a game that came out.
A game that came out because it's not good. It's just not.
It's not a good game, but it's a Muso game. So you literally are, you know what you're getting with the Muso game. I do think 2021 this year. Now I can actually say this year. It's no longer next gen. We're in current gen 2021. It's going to be a pretty fucking amazing year from everything that got delayed and everything that's coming out this year. And I think
considering things like we private chat moment. But like we don't know anything about Nintendo this year. Like, what the fuck does Nintendo have coming out this year? Like at all?
Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah, I think Breath of the Wild 2 comes out this year. I think you're going to see a bunch of shit. Yeah,
Metroid Prime 4, baby.
I don't think that's coming this year, but I think they have a bunch of. I mean, they could drop a new console this year. They could drop their Switch Plus this year and say, "Hey, you guys are trying to get a PS5, but guess what? Get the Switch Plus that plays all those games already, and we got an updated online system that gets you." So,
and they'll launch it with. They'll do the thing where they like launch it day and date with like like how the Switch Lite launched with Legend of Zelda. They'll launch it with like, and you could play, the Zelda HD combo pack on the Switch Pro.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
So-
You know what? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get Breath of the Wild 2, or I think the Switch Plus is going to launch in like March or April. I wouldn't be surprised if we get either Breath of the Wild 2 or the Metroid Prime 3D collection dropping, like the remaster collection dropping on that day, because it's like I think Metroid is the next, Zelda and Metroid are the next big anniversaries. But there's so many. I mean, you look at like Sony's got God of War supposedly coming out this year. Horizon Forbidden West is they haven't quite said it, but that's also supposedly coming out this year.
On PS4 too.
On PS4, maybe Halo Infinite will come out this year. Who knows about that? We don't know about the Microsoft monopoly. What's happening over there? But it's
Is there anything 2021 that you are just can't wait for? Just like it's the thing that is on your radar.
That's what I was thinking about, because like the last couple of years has been like Death Stranding and Cyberpunk for me have been like my two games. Like, oh my god, I can't wait. But there's, I guess, Final Fantasy 16. Hopefully, because they did say it
sounds like
could
come
out.
Yeah, that's wild if that comes out this year. That will be wild. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think it's coming out this year.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think
if it doesn't, it will be early 2022.
Well, the problem with that game is that at least in terms of things announced and teased, we're still waiting on Project Althea, right? And that's them, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not the same team though, because there's Yoshi P's team.
There's been enough sort of like dialogue about Final Fantasy 16 and enough sort of articles coming out of Japan and stuff that really leads you to believe that they are really deep into Final Fantasy 16. Really, really deep into Final Fantasy 16. So
I guess if there's one thing that Yoshi P knows how to do, it's how to crank out an absolutely massive game.
Yeah, literally. I mean, you look at some other things: Hitman 3, Deathloop, Halo Infinite, Far Cry 6, the God of War sequel, Hellblade 2, Resident Evil.
I am so fucking excited for Hitman 3, man.
Yeah,
Resident Evil 8.
Oh yeah, Village.
Yeah, Village. So there's a few that are definitely confirmed, and I do think Breath of the Wild comes out this year. I think that's coming out.
Definitely.
There's so much,
because it's weird for Nintendo to show a trailer and then not have a date for the game. Because they usually show the game then it comes out. So
I think Gran Turismo comes out this year. I think something Forza obviously is going to come out this year for the racing folks. So
I think they announced it's going to be the next Horizon, didn't they?
No, they didn't. Jeff announced it. Jeff said it. Yeah, it's probably going to be Horizon, or it could be like a third game within.
Is it going to be like, or like how they did Gran Turismo Sport, where it's just like it's not really a Gran Turismo game, but it's also very much a Gran Turismo game. So.
It could very well be that. Yeah. I actually think we're going to get a new Sonic game this year, like an actual new Sonic game this year. But
3D Sonic.
We'll see what that is.
Yeah, 3D or 2D.
No, that's the important question. Will it be a 3D game or a 2D game?
Right. Exactly. So
if it's Sonic Mania 2, sign me the fuck up. If it's
I hope it's a 3D Sonic.
If it's Sonic Forces 2, throw it away right now.
We may get that new Atari this year, right?
No, that came out. People have their Ataris now. People actually got their Ataris. Yeah, it's exactly what you think it would be. It's just a PC with a UI. I mean, it's nothing special, and it's powered by blockchain. So
that tells you everything, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, gents, great evening, great selection of games here. We've selected our side questing. Every time we have Aaron on these GOTY things, he ends up picking the game of the year.
But this year I didn't have to force anything. I think I'm just sitting here and it's like, fuck, we've all got this on our list. Like, I didn't have to fight this one because we all picked it.
Yep. All right. Well, with that, we're gonna sign off for tonight on the this hour and a half episode. I keep thinking they're gonna be short, but they're not. You can find us SideQuesting.com, SideQuesting TV on I think it's on Twitch, SideQuesting on YouTube, at SideQuesting. I'm at Dolly Domovsky. Where can we find you, Zach?
At OKQuest on Twitter.
Where can we find you, Aaron?
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Scratty Bones.
Aaron Fireball, Scratty Bones, Kelly, and JJ. Where can we find you?
Sponsorship.
the_double_J on Twitter and DisneyCompendium.com, where all fine podcasts are sold.
Nice. And we will see you all in the next episode of the Side Quest. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Peace.